Good evening and welcome to Thinking Re-envisioned. You're just seconds away from the unbeatable Henry G. Noel. Believe me when I say your ego has met its match. Here's Henry.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Transitional Radio's Thinking Re-envisioned. My name is Henry Noel, and I am your host. We are here to make you think. We're here to make you question. Question everything. I want to thank you for joining me this Wednesday evening on the eve of Thanksgiving. I thank you very much. And this, our 15th episode. God, we made it through this so far. We're broadcasting live this evening from our uplink studio in beautiful, very wet Cuenca, Ecuador, 2 degrees south of the equator, where we actually get 12 hours of sunshine and 12 hours of nighttime every day. It's really kind of fabulous. We are broadcasting live on IPMNation.com and Thinking Re-envision's, Facebook and YouTube pages. I wish to thank all of our listeners from all over the globe for listening to the show and tuning in. Those listening on live radio, those listening to our rebroadcasts, and you, our fly-on-the-wall video listeners. It is great having you listening in. I really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank our good friends at Wirecast for making it even possible for us to be broadcasting both live and globally, and thanks to my brother, too, because he's the one actually pulling the strings. So to all our listeners who wish to participate in this show, again, email me, henry@henrygnoel.com. Now, it is my wish to present a show where everyone can be as actively involved as they want. So we trust that you have had an enjoyable day, and I imagine this is probably the last day for some people for their work. So I want to get to the thread, see what's on everybody's mind on this Wednesday eve of Thanksgiving, and it is just fabulous to be here with you. I thank you so much for joining us. Rita, thank you for holding down the fort. My brother, of course, Marcia, welcome. It's great to see you. Paul McFeely, a lovely man from Ireland, and great to have you here, sir. John, thank you for joining us. And Alice, Alice, thank you so much for joining us. It's great. Candace, always great to see you come up on the thread. So this is great. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, everybody. I hope everybody is enjoying it. Actually, it was almost late getting in here. We had celebrated a Thanksgiving dinner with some friends of ours, and just wanted to get back here as quickly as we possibly could. But so we already started celebrating it down here. Not that it's an Ecuadorian holiday by any stretch of the imagination, but it is for the gringos that live here. So just again, happy Thanksgiving Eve. I hope that everybody is going to be doing something special and just enjoying the evening. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is an open thread. I mean, I posted just a topic for this evening dealing with if you on this Thanksgiving Eve, if you could wish the world to be the world that you'd like it to be, what is your dreams for the world? What would you like to see happen with the world? And so I left that open. And again, we can talk about that, or we can sit down and talk about whatever it is that you want. Or I can stand here. And if I sit down, you probably won't be able to see me. But we can go ahead and see what we got going. But to me, it's everything. Thanks to the natives that lost everything for all of this to be there. Absolutely. Thank you, John. And I really appreciate that. I know there's a lot of people that have really no clue about what really Thanksgiving was about and what it's gone into. I mean, we have what we believe that we know, but again, researching this thing to see how things arose, it's very interesting. It's nothing like I was taught in school, which I found very interesting. Maria, thank you. Welcome. Joseph, welcome. Great to see both of your icons. Yes, Paul, thank you very much. You're ever welcome, and it is wonderful. Everything is going well. I hope everything is going well with you too. And so please, love to you and the family, and I hope that you're just enjoying it. And I hope that the weather there is, not as cold, although it is Ireland, so it's it's probably a bit on the cool and damp side for you guys too. But I was looking up the history of Thanksgiving, and it was very interesting. I had not known some of this stuff, and so, wow, Fred, thank you very much for joining us from beautiful Rio Rancho, New Mexico. It's great to have you on. Thank you so much for being here. This is great to see you. Wow, I love this. This is great. The history of Thanksgiving. let's see. Alice says that Candace says that actually Thanksgiving history was not a happy day for Native Americans. It actually really wasn't a happy day for very many people. I mean, when you figure, we're dealing. First of all, if you go back with the Pilgrims, as that. Actually, the first Thanksgiving was back in Jamestown, back in well before Plymouth. But it was very interesting. There was about 23 survivors left from the Mayflower through that first winter, and it was a very interesting thing. Thanksgiving was actually not a holiday until Abraham Lincoln actually came up with this theme of Pilgrims and Indians eating happily together, because he was trying to calm things down during the Civil War. And I thought that was very interesting. So with all the people being divided, he is actually credited with officially creating the present Thanksgiving holiday, which I found very interesting. It's great to see. Let's see. Joseph says he's just getting home from work. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Thank you very much, Joseph. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you too. It's fabulous that you were able to get on. Actually, I just got in here too. I just made it before the show started. But I found it very interesting that the holiday that we see as Thanksgiving is nothing like I thought it was. I mean, it was they didn't eat together. The 90 or so representatives of the Native American tribe, which were and I won't even pronounce this even close to being right, but it's the Wampanoag tribe. There were about 90 representatives there and they had several deer, and geese and ducks and corn that had been harvested. And there were about 23 people left from the Mayflower, and they actually celebrated separately. The native, the Wampanoag tribe was there, and so were the Pilgrims, but they sort of celebrated differently. But that's really what it was. Rosa, welcome to us. It's great to see you. Thank you. It is good to have you here. It was very interesting to go through and learn about all of this, and to realize that before the people could step off the Mayflower, they had to make an agreement with the Wampanoag tribe. And what they initially, actually down to the basics, and this was actually from a descendant of the Wampanoag tribe, that she had written that the agreement was that literally, you watch our back and we'll watch your back and we'll get along just fine, But it was an agreement between the Wampanoag Nation and England, which I found fascinating. It wasn't between the Mayflower and the Pilgrims and the Indians. It was between the Indian Nation and England that made the actual agreement for them to step off the boat onto the soil of the New World. So I found that, again, very interesting. There's so much in history we just don't know, and that's what's so hard, I think, about it, is we just don't understand how much was there. Thanksgiving Day massacre occurred. I don't believe there was a Thanksgiving Day massacre. The massacre occurred. There was one because the Wampanoag tribe was fighting another tribe at that time, and I know that there was a massacre ahead of time before the Thanksgiving celebration, or the giving thanks for the very first harvest is what it was. And then there was a slaughter of about 700 Pequot men, women, and children, which is now in an area called Mystic, Connecticut, and that was in 1637. So, there's so much disagreement between the histories, between the conquered, as we always mention, history is written by the conqueror, and so between the conqueror, the Pilgrims, and the Native Americans, guess who was the underdogs here. And so it's very difficult to really pinpoint what the facts are. But yeah, some of this has really gone on. But it really was celebrating the very first harvest, successful harvest that the Pilgrims had. And it was giving thanks for that, as has been done throughout history. Lee, welcome. Thank you for joining us, Lee. Thank you. Great show, by the way. You and Brian you guys did great. It was really great. So, it's really, really hard to pinpoint all of the exact information, because, again, history is written by the people that win battles. But it goes. But the giving thanks has been a tradition all the way back into very ancient times, when the harvest that was planted to become up after the frost, or just before the frost. It's the giving thanks. And so that's how the giving thanks began. It wasn't called Thanksgiving. It was just simply giving thanks. And it's a very paganish holiday, just like Christmas is a very paganish holiday. And it was established based on pagan beliefs. So, with the winter solstice. So it's very interesting how we have, everything has been so twisted and hard to fathom. But it's the confusion that exists. This is totally understandable. But again, this is something that I thought was really interesting. I think George Washington originally had established a fall harvest, a harvest festival that was linked to being a Thanksgiving. But then all of the presidents between him and Lincoln didn't honor it, and it wasn't until Lincoln that it actually became a bona fide holiday, a national holiday. So it's and that was in the 1860s. So yeah, it's very interesting that the holiday itself is actually very recent, but the roots of the celebration of giving thanks goes back, millennia after millennia after millennia, because it is part of the pagan rituals of the fertile earth and the harvest and that they'd have enough food to last the winters, which of course many of the pilgrims didn't have because most of them died. But Jamestown was no different. I mean, it was the same thing there, being the first settlement in the United States. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go on. But I found it to be, being this is the holiday, it is very interesting to know, or at least find out what else has actually gone on before all of this. Let's see. In fact, it was George Washington. It was after a request from Congress. And Thomas Jefferson chose not to observe the holiday, and its celebration was intermittent until the presidency of Abraham Lincoln, when Thanksgiving became a federal holiday in 1863 during the American Civil War. And as I said, it was to calm everything down between families and brothers. So it's, again, extremely interesting. And of course, yes, the one element that is left out, Native Americans. Of course, it's always the Wampanoag tribe is omitted, the Pequot tribe is omitted, although they were at odds with each other. So yes, it's a very interesting, sordid history that the United States actually has when you really start getting into the real crux of what actually took place. So, but anyway, I'm hoping that everybody is planning on a great holiday, at least a great food. That's definitely the case. I know it was fun because being down here, we don't, obviously this is not a Ecuador holiday, so this is strictly within the gringos. And so our dinner was wonderful. I mean, turkey and stuffing and sweet potatoes and actually cranberry sauce, which was fabulous, and some carrots, and it was absolutely delightful. They even had an Ecuadorian style eggnog, which I thought was really very interesting too. So yeah, I mean, we do have this influence around the world. And so it's really kind of fun to really celebrate all of this. But let's see, John says, wow, thanks for the information, more than I knew. Great. Well, you're welcome, John. Yeah, that's me, a plethora of information. That and 25 cents, well, now it won't be about $2.50 will get me a cup of coffee now. Let's see, Candace says to me, what's what I'm blessed and thankful for? Yes, please. It's go for it. I mean, to me, it's important. We don't spend enough time talking about the things that we are blessed for, that we appreciate, that we are thankful for, because it's just not there. We just don't talk about it. And she goes, Candace says, it's a shame people don't know the tribes that lived across the U.S. And it's true, because there are hundreds of them, hundreds of Native American tribes that have lived all across the country, and there were hundreds of them just in the Northeast during the period that the Pilgrims came through, between the Montauk's, the Connecticut, the Wantagh. There were so many tribes there that we don't even know about them, and so it's really sad that we don't. But it's easy. You can research it if the interest is there. It is out there on the internet. You can certainly see the map of the Native American tribes all throughout history. Heather, welcome. It's great to see your icon pop up. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just celebrating, or just talking about this is the eve of Thanksgiving, and I'll take this now while I'm here. I have a previous engagement. I will not be broadcasting tomorrow evening, so I just want to let everybody know up front. So I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving today, on the eve of Thanksgiving, because I will not be on tomorrow. But this is this is just it's just one small celebration of giving thanks, which was started from the pagan days. I mean, this is from way back where the harvest, Pachamama, Mother Earth, was celebrated for giving a bounty, a good harvest, and this was the way of celebrating. And much of the food was always given back to Pachamama in one form or another. Either it was burned or buried or whatever the case may be. John says, the biggest shame we don't share the knowledge they had. You know, you're absolutely right, John, it really is. I mean, history, I've been a big proponent for teaching history the way history should be taught, because I believe if we don't know history, we tend to repeat it. And as you can see, the way the world is and the crisis that it's in, we're repeating it. Thomas, welcome, Thomas. It's a pleasure. It's great to see your icon pop up. Let's see what we got. Rita says, hi, Dallas. Dallas, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate your icon popping up too. This is great. Joseph, yeah, we are Heinz 57. We really are. And that's why I don't understand why we have so much discrimination in this world. Because we are all from different nationalities. I mean, none of us are from a native Norte Americanos. We are not. We are, we're all from Europe and from Asia and from different places. I happen to be from both places, actually. My mom was Japanese. My father was French. So we had, we had this amazing combination. But, it really is the way we're supposed to be. We're Irish and German and everything thrown in between. And yet we want to discriminate against the same everyday people that we deal with. I mean, that we are from, our national. I remember growing up in high school and getting into fights because my mom was Japanese. We lived in an Italian neighborhood. They fought on the same side during World War II. I never could quite figure out how come I got picked on, but we did. But that was just the way it was. I couldn't understand that. But we have these reasons for why we justify being discriminatory. And here it comes. We just do it all the time. Candace says, they know how to survive, and such spiritual people. Yes, they are. Well, they were in tune to the earth. They appreciated the earth. The universe was very important to them. And their spiritual guides and animal guides were very important to them. And we need to learn a lot from them. Having become a shaman, it is so rooted in our belief systems how important the worship of this planet is, the treating it with respect. Well, you can imagine what it was like for, let's say, the Incas and the indigenous people before the Incas in South America, to understand. Here come the Spaniards. And they worship Mother Pachamama. It is, Mother Earth gives them everything. And the Spanish come in with their Catholicism, telling them that hell is in the earth. And you can see the contradiction on how that must have been for them. I mean, you got to be kidding me. We worship this place, and you're telling me this is where you go to burn forever? We don't buy that, which is why the Spanish wiped them out. But it is. We need to understand. We need to go back into learning about the indigenous, the people that were there first, because they lived this. This is what it was all about, and it's really sad that we don't do that. Rita says they never took more than they needed and gave praise to nature, and that is one of the principles that, like Rita and I live with. We give back more than we take, because that is the only way that I feel that we can actually do something constructive and positive on this planet. We give back more than we take. And I think everybody needs to do that instead of taking more than they need or want and wasting it. To me, that's what's so sad. John says it's why we're so disconnected. Exactly, John. We've lost our spiritual, our energetic connection, because it is through the universe, it is through this planet, and we've lost it. I mean, we don't talk to the plants. We don't understand what's going on. We abuse all of this. And we need to get back to that. We've lost touch. We've lost communication with our very spirit, our very soul. And that's what we have to gain back. I thank you, John, for that comment. I appreciate that. Joseph, we have a lot of Native American blood and all that. Fantastic. You know what? You need to send that to me. I'm a big genealogist. I'm the genealogist in the family. And so I love tracing this back, and I love knowing the history of the families. And so I would love to hear about that, Joseph. That piques a lot of interest. Rita says, Our arrogance and disrespect cost thousands of Native Americans their lives, probably millions. And I agree, and it's really sad. Joseph says my wife's side is Cherokee, beautiful, and my kids can get free stuff. That's part of the. I'm wondering how much of that is the guilt stuff that the government feels for having done what they did. And I think that is fabulous because having lived in New Mexico, surrounded by so many different tribes, and having very, very, very dear friends in the Zuni tribe, just wonderful friends. I mean, my gosh, they're like family. And having been to Zuni and been able to participate in a lot of the ceremonies that white people don't get to see, and being able to get around to places within the 7 cities of Cibola, to be able to see these places, and where no white man is allowed to go because he's a fellow shaman, and as is his family. And so it's what an experience to be able to feel the energy and the understanding and get the respect and give the respect back of those that were here first, that were the native population that we so brutally wiped out for our own gain. And now we believe it's our God-given right because we're white. I'm sorry, I don't get that. It drives me up a wall. I think it's wrong. And like I says, I don't believe exteriorly there really should be no difference. We should never see each other as different. Marcia says, thanks to the universe. Yep, for that allows us to join all that is great. And you're absolutely right. Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you so much, Marcia, from the heart. You are a treasure and a half. Heido, hello, how are you? I hope you're listening in. It's great nice to just know that you're there. Rita says, how would history have been written if Native America had successfully defended their lands and the white man had lost? And it was fun. When I first met Rita, we took a 2-week road trip and 24/7 together. If something's not going to break you, that's going to break you. And we grew so close together. And one of the concepts we had come back is we started talking about what would the quote unquote United States of America be like if the Native Americans had took a stand at the Mississippi River and said, no way, you ain't coming. And just to see what the negotiations would have to be between Washington and the Indian nations in coordinating travel and stuff. So it was just something we had talked about. And it was just interesting to really have a great conversation with him. We talked about that for days. It was fabulous. Let's see. Dallas says, yes, great question, Rita, and I absolutely agree with you. Dallas says, I wonder too. It's amazing how we just take it for granted, and it's in everything that we do, every aspect of our life. This one happens to be giving thanks right now, but we do this with everything. Our religions, we do it with everything, and that's part of the thing that I really enjoy being able to discuss. Joseph says. Dallas says we appreciate Pachamama. Absolutely, we do. We do ceremony to Pachamama all the time. Joseph says my side is Iroquois. Wow, that is fantastic. And Algonquin, enemy of the Cherokee, but we get along. See, I know you're going to go about this, but you buried the hatchet. I love that. It's. I think that's great, Joseph. I think it really is terrific. Candace says I think it all just took them by surprise. Very possibly. Very possibly. Marcia says, Heido, I love it. Hi, everyone. Greetings from Ecuador. Great program, Henry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Heido. Appreciate it. I really do. It's great. You guys are so fabulous. I just adore you guys. Thank you. So on this eve of giving thanks, you guys, I thank you very much for that. Everybody that's listening out there in the radio land, I really do appreciate what you're doing. And regardless, if you're wherever you are in this world, thank you, bro. We are. He didn't put the eyes up there for me this time, but he just signaled me. I appreciate it. But all those that are working in embassies all over the world, those that are on military active duty all over the world, I wish to give a heartfelt giving thanks to you for your service, for the efforts that you make, living in a foreign land, dealing with foreign languages, dealing with different cultures, and still trying to hold on to some of the traditions that you have from your homeland. I want to thank you all for all of that service, and my heart goes out to you all. I know what it is to be out of the country during the holidays. I mean, this is where we live, but this is by choice for us. So again, to everyone out there in Radio Land, everyone listening, and whether you're from the United States or you're within another country, don't hesitate to look up the history behind Thanksgiving and why the United States celebrates it and how it came about. Believe me, getting to know the people from the United States, we are worth it. We are worth understanding and knowing. We really are. Yes, we have a lot of problems, but we are worth it. Dallas says, let's see. Yep, every month, twice a month, we give thanks in our little corner of the world. Absolutely, we do. And Maria says, the pilgrims had a giving of thanks to God for surviving the winter and for bringing safety to the new world. Exactly. And the bountiful and actual successful harvest, thanks to the Native Americans that taught them how to grow stuff in this in the new world, because they were more familiar with New England. And so they didn't know the trees, for instance. Not even understanding the species of trees made it extremely difficult for them to live. Which ones would be good wood to build homes and build forts? Which was good wood to burn? They didn't know. So the Native Americans had to teach them. And so that was part of this whole process. From Fred, thank you so much. White man speaks with forked tongue. The hypocrisy that Native Americans have put up with. And you're absolutely true. I'm not going to argue with you at all, because that is absolutely true. That is exactly the history of these United States, and that is the sad part about all of this. It's again, you give more than you take. To me, that is should be a gospel. Give more than you take, because it's very important, and I think that's really where we should be. So to me, it really is. It is a time for giving thanks, and I do that. I do that for you guys, and I do hope that you celebrate the holidays coming up. Now we have a nice stretch of it into the Christmas season, and which is probably, I'm not allowed to say Christmas probably either, but I don't give a damn. I'm going to say it anyway, because it is. This is the holiday. This is what it's all about. And if people have issues with that, then write me. Fine, that's not a problem. I have delete. So anyway, I want to thank everybody too for being on tonight. Thank you so much, and thank you for taking the time out of your evening to join us. Thank you so much. And I want to also again thank everybody that's listening to the radio broadcast, and those that tune into the rebroadcast. Again, my heartfelt giving thanks to you wherever you are in the world, no matter what country you're in, no matter what country you are a citizen of. I give thanks to all of you for being here, for being on this planet and doing everything you can to help. So thank you. There's the eyes. I was waiting for that. I knew I was going to push this to the limit. Candace says, I'll be saying grace and will pray for everyone, the earth and the creations. Thank you so much, Candace. I'll be joining you. Rita says, blessing to all of you. Thank you for your input and ideas. And again, very, very happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Enjoy. We will see you on Sunday evening. So thank you again, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. My heart goes out to you all. Thank you so much. Hasta luego.